Hi guys, welcome back to another video. I just want to do something fall related because why not? It's fall and I can actually still fit into this shirt, at least for now. I mean, it looks kind of tight on the belly area, but we'll go with it. Anyway, so I'm going to do this book tag because Elliot Brooks, one of my favorite channels, she left it sort of as an open tag that anyone could do. And I'm going to be answering some questions that are sort of fall themed about books that I've read. I've not prepared these answers in advance, so I'm just going to make this up as I go and we'll see what I come up with. Okay, so the first question is, in fall, the air is crisp and clear. Name a book with a vivid setting. So I have a lot of answers for these, but I'm trying to think of a book that I read just this year. Honestly, it's probably one of the ones I just finished. I didn't love the book, but I thought it definitely had a vivid setting, and that is Truly Devious. So I just finished this, and I've already talked about it a lot in other videos, but it is a mystery that is kind of set in the 1930s, but then also is a mystery taking place in modern day, and it follows this girl who she comes to this boarding school in, where is it, Vermont, I think, or somewhere in New England. And the boarding school itself, it's so atmospheric. It definitely is a good fall read for sure, not only because it's a mystery as well, of course, but just the setting. It almost reminds me of like Hogwarts kind of thing. I mean, it's not like that at all, but it's definitely this like elite boarding school, and it's just very atmospheric. And of course, she is solving this like old cold case basically from the 1930s, but she's also solving kind of a modern day mystery as well. So I would definitely say this one mostly for the setting. Okay, the second question. Nature is beautiful, but also dying. Name a book that is beautifully written, but also deals with a heavy topic like loss or grief. I don't read very many books with heavy topics because I'm all about fantasy. I'm all fantasy and sci-fi over here. So actually, if I'm picking one I read this year, since I really don't read very many of these kind of books, one that I read for book club was with my students was A Monster Calls. And I can't remember the author's name of this one, but it'll be right here on the screen. So it was more of almost more like middle grade, but like anybody could read it. And I remember it kind of being like magical realism. I do remember that it was about a boy whose mom was dying of cancer, and he is trying to come to terms with it. And one way he does that is he imagines this like giant tree monster thing in his yard, like coming through his window and like talking to him. And it's like a really scary, terrifying monster, but it tells him like 3 different stories or something. And I think that's how the book was divided. It was like, oh, okay, here's a story about this, here's a story about this. And on like the 3rd night or the 4th night or something, he said the boy is going to have to tell him his story, but the boy doesn't want to do this. And he doesn't want to face the thing that's going to happen at the end. But we know that like his mom is going to die from cancer. And he's being kind of like rebellious. And I remember his dad's not very involved in the picture, and he was really mad at like his grandmother, and he was kind of taking it out on like the house. And I think he like just, there was a scene where he like destroyed stuff in the house, but he said it was like the tree monster, but it was really him. And I'm not even sure if the tree monster was real or not. I don't think I actually quite finished this book because it's right when the virus hit and we were doing this for a book club, and I never did get to finish it. So I might have to go back, but I do remember that this one was dealt with heavy topics, but it was really good. And I love magical realism, so it was great. All right, our next question. Fall is back to school season. Share a nonfiction book that taught you something new. Well, I read very little nonfiction, and so really one of the only nonfiction books I read this year, and I've already talked about it before, is Outliers by Malcolm McDowell, which I actually have right over there, but I don't want to have to go get it because I'm lazy. So anyway, it was it's called like The Story of Success, and I know I've talked about it in a previous video, but just briefly, it is about how people are successful in ways that you would never expect. So like you might think, oh, people are successful because they work really hard, or they're just really smart, they're born with talent, it's just innate, and there's only so many ways that you could be successful. But he says in this that it's actually a series of factors that you would never imagine that can make you successful. Things even like the month you were born, the time of year you were born, the exact year you were born. Like there's a whole chapter about Bill Gates and Steve Jobs, and that if they were not born right exactly when they were, then just because they were smart and stuff didn't mean like they might not have been who they are today if it wasn't for literally exactly they were born at just the right time. So it's a lot of factors that you can't control. And he talks about what was it, like Koreans are the worst pilots, and he talks about why you've never heard of the world's smartest man, because he actually has the highest IQ, but he did not have all these circumstances to build success like so many other people did. So he is like a cattle rancher out in Iowa or somewhere, or whatever it is. So anyway, this was really enlightening, and I really enjoyed it, and I definitely would recommend it to my students as well. Okay, book number 4. In order to keep warm, it's good to spend time with the people we love. Name a fictional family, household, or friend group that you'd like to be a part of. Oh, wow. Okay, so I've got to be thinking about books I read this year that had a really interesting cast of characters that I would definitely want to be a part of. I honestly can't think of anything better than Harry Potter for this, because Harry Potter is like the best thing ever. But I could also say something from Anne Rice, but the family in the witching hour is pretty weird. Honestly, the book I'm reading right now wouldn't be bad. Well, actually, ooh, no. Oh my gosh, this is really hard. How about Hold Me Closer, Necromancer, I think, especially at the end of that book. But that was by Lish McBride. I think at the end of that one and the beginning of the sequel, it's, their crew's finally all together, and he's like living in this house of this former necromancer that he defeats, in the first book. And he's got like, I remember gnomes running around the garden, and his, what was it, like the cat thing that can turn into a dragon, and it was really sarcastic and funny, and basically the cast of characters was just hilarious. And I remember at the end of the first book, I was so excited for the second one, because I just wanted to see all those characters living together in the same house and interacting, and so I could see that I would also want to be a part of that for sure. So, but I think the problem was that book 2 didn't quite show all of that as well as it could have. I think it could have been a lot funnier and showed more interaction between all those interesting characters, but it was definitely entertaining enough for me. Okay, the next question is, the colorful leaves are piling up on the ground. Show us a pile of fall-colored spines. I will have to take this picture when I get home, and I will insert it right here. And these will be nice fall-colored books that I actually personally have in my house, not just ones in the library. Okay, number 6 is, fall is the perfect time for some storytelling by the fireside. Share a book wherein somebody is telling a story. I do remember this one from the book tag video, because I was thinking that if I did it, I'd have to say Interview with a Vampire. In fact, I think I have it right over here. Hang on. I mean, we can't not say Interview with a Vampire, right? So I even had this book from a previous video I filmed, and this is even my signed copy. I forgot to even mention that in my other video, and it literally says for Megan and has Anne Rice's signature right there. Anyway, so Interview with a Vampire is being told literally as an interview. This kid who, in this book, you don't find out his name. Later in other books, you actually do, but this kid is interviewing Louis the vampire, and he, the whole thing is told as a story, and at first it is told like with quotation marks and everything, but then once Louis gets into his story, then we don't have quotation marks for like every paragraph. You just know that like, hey, he is telling the story to the narrator, and it comes back at the very end. And I think every now and then throughout as well, where he's talking about the narrator. So most of the other books are told from Lestat's point of view. So it's kind of interesting to see this one from Louis's point of view. And it's in present day that he's telling the story to the interviewer, and he's like taping it in, where is it, San Francisco, I think, or Los Angeles, San Francisco. And then at the very end, it goes back to that. But all the rest of the stuff takes place, in like the 1800s in New Orleans. So anyway, really awesome. Love it. Highly recommend. Okay, number 7. The nights are getting darker. Share a dark, creepy read. I also don't read very many creepy books, and I wish I actually read more, because I really do like mystery and suspense and horror, and I just don't even read that much of it. So I would have to say, if it's something that I've read recently, right now I'm reading Daughter of Smoke and Bone. In our book, it's listed in horror, so I'm going to count it for this. It's not really, I guess it's dark, but it's not really creepy, because it's about this girl who sort of like runs errands for a demon, and he collects teeth, and she doesn't know why, but like teeth are very, very important to him, that he uses them for something, and she has to kind of figure out what, but she also has to figure out who she is. Oh, and this is set in, I think it's Prague. It's a city like that. I don't know. And she is really mysterious, and she's got this blue hair, and you don't really know much about her, and she doesn't know much about herself either. So she's trying to figure out the mystery of who she is. And this demon that she runs errands for has this door in his shop that he runs, basically, where he sells like wishes. He deals in wishes, and people give him teeth, and he will give them a wish. And And so it's very magical as well. And she has a necklace full of wishes that she can use for like more minor things. Like she makes someone's like face itch and stuff when they're trying to pose for a portrait or, things like that. And she kind of seems like a normal girl, but she is definitely not. And she finally kind of finds out what's behind this door. And there's also angels, and she runs into, like the seraph, and she runs into one of them, and something happens with that. And now there's a lot of backstory and world building and a lot of cool stuff going on. But I wouldn't really say it's dark and creepy, but it is really good. And it's the best thing I can think of for this. That is something that I've read this year. Okay, so the next one is The Days Are Getting Colder. Name a short, heartwarming read that could warm up somebody's cold and rainy day. Ooh. Well, I'm going to probably say the book that I'm currently reading right now also, even though I've not finished it, but it is The Girl Who Drank the Moon. And also, I can't remember the author's name, but it will be here on this book. And I know, I'm honestly saying this because a lot of booktubers that I've seen who talk about this book say that it is these things, heartwarming, and would warm your heart on a cold or on a rainy day, and it's short. So it's a middle grade book, so it would be really easy to read. So I would recommend this one. I can't tell you too much about it because I don't want to ruin it, but basically at the very beginning, there is this town who they every single year give a baby up to a witch in this like swamp because they think that she demands it of them to keep to not harm their village. But there's more to it than that. There's a lot more going on, and you kind of keep coming back to the town and seeing what's happening there because clearly these people are nuts for just leaving a baby out in the woods. And every year the witch comes and gets the baby, and she thinks that these people are just leaving this kid out here, so she finds it a home every year, and she feeds it starlight, which just sort of helps it, and it doesn't really give it magic or anything, but it kind of like fills it up and makes it happy. But she accidentally gives this one baby moonlight, and then she names it Luna, and she has to keep it and take it in as like her own now, and it's raised by like her and these swamp creatures that she lives with because since it drank starlight or moonlight, she now has like magical abilities that are going to surface someday, and the witch is going to have to take care of her. But I hear that's a very heartwarming story. I'm not super far into it, like 100 pages, but it is short and it is a middle school level book. It also won the Newbery Award, so it's probably going to be pretty good. Okay, so we only have 2 questions left. Number 9 says fall. Luckily, it's my favorite season. Well, it is mine too. Returns every year. Name an old favorite that you'd like to return to soon. Well, I can definitely tell you that. I've had the 3 newest Lestat books on my list for so long. So this is in the Vampire Chronicles by Anne Rice. And of course, Anne Rice wrote the original first 10 a really long time ago. Now she wrote 3 more kind of more recently, and I've only read them 1 time each, which is crazy because I've read all the other ones like 10 times each. So I'm going to go back and read all of those, which is, oh gosh, what is it? Prince Lestat and the Realms of Atlantis, which is really strange. I don't think of Lestat being with Atlantis, but whatever. I'll read it again. I remember I still liked it. And then Blood Communion, which was short, but really good. So I'm definitely going to return to more Lestat, and I'm so excited because I've sort of been in this reading slump that I think going back to my favorite author of all time, Anne Rice, I think she can get me out of that slump. And finally, the last question is, fall is the perfect time for cozy reading nights. Share your favorite cozy reading accessories. Oh, okay. Accessories. Well, I'll have to show you a picture of it because I didn't bring it, obviously. But my book seat is my favorite thing to read with because I don't know about you, but it hurts my neck to stare down at a book like this. So I really like to have something to hold my book up. And especially if I want to be hands-free and I want to be eating or something while I read, then I can put it in this book seat and it will stay upright basically. And it's awesome and I love it. That's pretty much the only thing I've really been using lately. So I've not needed any blankets yet. It's not that cold here yet, unfortunately. It's getting a little cooler, but not to the point where I need blankets. I do like candles and things like that. So, but mostly the book seat, and I would highly recommend it for anyone who is an avid reader and doesn't want your neck to hurt. So, all right. So hopefully this was kind of fun. It was fun for me to try to see if I could think of books. I pretty much picked books I've read this year, so it is newer reads for me. But and a couple of them, of course, I haven't even finished yet, but I will. I promise soon. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you again soon. Bye.